The eruption came without warning. One morning, Hollywood woke to headlines screaming that the seemingly unbreakable bond between Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe had been torn apart by a wave of rumors no one could have predicted. For years, their partnership had been held up as one of the great modern stories of television, a collaboration built on mutual respect, undeniable chemistry, and an almost mythic loyalty to each other. Together, they weren't just the stars of Outlander. They were a symbol of what could happen when two actors poured heart and soul into their craft. But Hollywood has never been kind to symbols. And once the whispers began, they spread like wildfire. It started small, almost innocuous, a blind item on a gossip blog suggesting tension between two beloved co-stars. The names weren't printed at first, but the descriptions left little doubt about who the writer meant. Fans recognized the clues immediately. The Scottish leading man with global appeal, the Irish actress with elegance and fire, bound together by a decade-long television phenomenon. Within hours, speculation took root. By the end of the week, it had exploded into a full-fledged narrative. Sam and Caitríona's once unshakable bond was crumbling. The timing made everything worse. Both actors were already under immense pressure, promoting projects, fielding constant questions about their personal lives, and enduring the relentless gaze of paparazzi lenses. When the rumors hit, it was as if years of unspoken speculation had finally been given permission to run wild. Online forums dissected every detail. Did Sam look distant in a recent photo? Was Caitríona's smile tighter than usual during an interview? Suddenly, every shrug, every glance, every pause became evidence of a relationship in ruins. The media machine kicked into overdrive. Entertainment magazines splashed their faces across covers with captions like, "Bond in crisis," and, "What went wrong?" Talk show hosts made jokes about the supposed falling out, while gossip sites published long lists of clues, suggesting the two stars were no longer on good terms. It wasn't just idle chatter anymore, it was a spectacle. Hollywood had erupted, and Sam and Caitríona were at the center of the quake. For their fans, the news was devastating. The Outlander fandom had long celebrated their partnership as something unique, something rare in an industry so often marked by fleeting connections. People didn't just watch Jamie and Claire fall in love on screen, they believed, in some way, that Sam and Caitríona carried that bond with them off-screen too. Whether that belief was grounded in reality didn't matter. It was part of the magic, the reason fans lined up for hours at conventions and hung on every word of interviews. To hear that the bond might be destroyed was like being told a fairy tale had ended badly. And yet, even as the outrage grew, so did the curiosity. What exactly had triggered these rumors? Some whispered about jealousy, others about conflicting commitments, and still others claimed that the intense demands of fame had finally driven a wedge between them. Without any official explanation, the narrative became whatever people wanted it to be. Each version of the story was more dramatic than the last, feeding the frenzy until the truth seemed irrelevant. Insiders described the atmosphere around the pair as tense. Publicists scrambled to manage the fallout, issuing vague statements about fabricated stories and unfounded speculation. But the damage was already done. In the world of Hollywood gossip, denial rarely kills a rumor, it only gives it more oxygen. Every time Sam or Caitríona sidestepped a question, the silence was interpreted as proof. Every time they appeared together without their usual warmth, it was dissected as confirmation. The cruel irony was that neither Sam nor Caitríona had done anything to deserve this avalanche. Their only crime, perhaps, was being too good together on screen, too convincing in their roles as lovers who defied time and fate. That very magic now worked against them, making people desperate to believe there must be hidden drama behind the curtain. By the end of the month, what had begun as a whisper had grown into a roar. "Bond destroyed" became the phrase of the season, splashed across headlines, tweeted thousands of times, debated endlessly by commentators who had never met either actor. Hollywood wasn't just watching, it was salivating, feeding on the possibility that one of its most beloved partnerships had finally cracked. The tragedy, of course, was that the real story was still untold. Whether the rumors held any truth or were nothing more than smoke conjured by gossip, the damage to their image was undeniable. Trust had been shaken, not just between Sam and Caitríona, but between them and the millions who had believed in their connection. The illusion of invincibility was gone, replaced by a lingering sense of doubt. Hollywood had erupted, and the ashes were still falling. As the rumors spiraled out of control, the focus inevitably shifted from speculation to the deeply human reactions of Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe themselves. If the first wave of headlines had been about the alleged destruction of their bond, the second wave was about how each of them would survive the storm. Caitríona was the first to feel the weight most acutely. Known for her poise, her intelligence, and her ability to steer clear of scandal, she suddenly found herself cast as one of the central figures in Hollywood's loudest drama. Paparazzi stalked her every move, capturing photographs that were instantly dissected for meaning. A furrowed brow became a sign of anger. A quiet smile was painted as fake composure. Even the simple act of walking into a studio or attending a charity event was spun into evidence that she was either crumbling under pressure or plotting her next move. Privately, friends say Caitríona struggled with a deep sense of frustration. For years, she had worked hard to be recognized as more than just Sam's on-screen partner. She had earned critical acclaim in independent films, had taken on diverse roles that showcased her range, and had built a reputation as a thoughtful, grounded actress. Now, all of that seemed to be slipping away, overshadowed by whispers about a supposed rift. "It's exhausting," one confidant quoted her as saying. "No matter what I do, people will read it as a reaction to him." Sam, meanwhile, faced a different kind of scrutiny. While Caitríona was framed as the woman caught in emotional turmoil, Sam was painted as the man at the center of controversy. Some outlets suggested he had fueled the gossip by remaining silent for too long. Others accused him of distancing himself from Caitríona at precisely the moment she needed him most. To fans, silence was not neutral, it was incriminating. Every missed opportunity to defend their bond was read as proof that it had already been destroyed. On social media, the fandom split into factions. #StandWithCaitríona trended alongside #SupportSam, with heated arguments breaking out between longtime followers. Old interviews were replayed endlessly, fans analyzing tone and body language as though they were detectives piecing together a crime scene. What once united the fandom, the love for a partnership that seemed larger than life, now fractured it into bitter debates about loyalty, betrayal, and truth. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered about strained interactions between the two stars. Promotional events reportedly became tense, with smiles that looked practiced rather than genuine and conversations that ended too quickly. Producers, worried about the show's public image, allegedly urged them to present a united front. But in Hollywood, appearances are everything, and even the smallest cracks were magnified into gaping fractures. Caitríona, always careful with her words, finally broke her silence in the most delicate way she could. During an interview for a separate project, she spoke about the challenges of life in the public eye. "People forget that actors are human," she said. "We give so much of ourselves on screen, but it doesn't mean people know who we really are. And sometimes the stories that are told about us are more about fantasy than reality." It was not an outright denial, nor was it a confirmation. It was a weary acknowledgement of the circus surrounding her life. Sam, too, addressed the issue indirectly. At a fan event, when asked about the rumors, he smiled politely and responded, "Don't believe everything you read. What matters is the work we do, and the respect we have for each other." The statement was met with cheers from the audience, but for many, it felt too neat, too carefully rehearsed. It quelled some doubts but also left plenty unresolved. And perhaps that was the cruelest twist of all. The truth remained elusive. Were Sam and Caitríona truly drifting apart, their bond eroded by years of speculation and outside pressure? Or were they simply victims of a media storm that thrived on ambiguity? In the absence of clarity, the world clung to rumors because they were more entertaining than silence. Hollywood, after all, feeds on stories of destruction as much as it does on stories of love. The narrative of a bond destroyed was simply too tempting to resist. Even if Sam and Caitríona managed to weather the storm, the scars of public doubt would linger. Their partnership, once untouchable, now carried the permanent shadow of suspicion. And so, the eruption left behind not just fractured headlines and divided fans, but a lingering question that neither star seemed willing, or able, to answer. Can a bond survive once Hollywood has declared it broken?